Arcane Odyssey from its first release can be agreed by all players that mages were significantly overpowered. With their outrageous damage output along with having abilities fairly simple and easy to use for a new player, mages were the obvious pick for anyone who wanted the best build for fighting in PvPs. And all the other builds like berserkers, warlocks, warriors, conjurers seem to be dubbed inferior to the mage build. However, with the Easter event update came a new array of balance changes, and the mage meta appeared to instantaneously be squashed into the ground overnight, with weapon-based builds seeming to now be the best build. What the heck happened to mages, and why are weapon-based builds now seemingly overnight just became supposedly the best build in the game? Well, taking a step back, nerfs for mages were well announced on their way, especially on YouTube, with many content creators mainly pointing out the nerfs to the mage class, most notably the pulsar spell. For more context, the pulsar spell was infamous for being quite overtuned, with many mages being able to carelessly spam the spell and deal damage that goes into the thousands, along with a considerable amount of other nerfs. With all these changes, it can be reasonable why mages now feel useless and not worth playing anymore. However, personally, I think mages can still be quite powerful, but it will take a considerable amount of skill in order to make up for all the nerfs that VTix gave the mage class, so no longer can players just brainlessly spam metal pulsar spells and expect to win flawlessly, either due to outrageous damage being outputted or just lagging the heck out of their opponents, likely dropping the mage class completely when the update rolled out. So then where the heck does this relate to the new meta of warriors and conjurers? Well, hear me out. This is my own personal opinion, but with a considerable amount of buffs towards most to all weapons that conjurers and warriors utilize within the same patch that mages were heavily nerfed, along with the fact that most weapon skills have debatably very high amounts of range, size, and damage, I think the weapon builds are a perfect alternative for mage players who are heavily affected by the mage nerfs. I mean, look at the size of some of these abilities. It would probably be easier for you to solve world hunger and discover a new element than trying to intentionally miss with any of these weapon skills. Okay, let me put it this way. Mages got heavily nerfed to the ground, where you now need to practice consistently for hours, days even, to develop the skill to utilize the magic in the mage build in order to perform well in PvP fights. Instead, you could just take the shortcut and just use a weapon build, which were both buffed in the latest update, have abilities that are arguably now easier to use than mage spells, and are now able to dish out high amounts of damage. Look, if you don't think weapon builds are now dubbed the best build in the game just because they're better and easier to use compared to the state of mages, feel free to express your opinions in the comments. And if you enjoy content that I consistently push out, feel free to subscribe and like the video. That would be really appreciated, thank you. Also, by the way, did you know about the biggest threat to Arcane Odyssey and all its players?